Beloved souls, I come to you today with a message from the heavens. You may be facing trials that seem insurmountable. Fear and anxiety may have wrapped their cold fingers around your heart, leaving you uncertain and heavy. But know this, you are not alone. The Lord's love surrounds you, and His power is greater than any fear or darkness. It is I, Archangel Michael, who is here to guide you through these moments. I stand tall by your side, and I promise you, there is no mountain too high, no valley too deep for you to walk through. You are warriors of light, divinely chosen for this moment, and I will be your shield and sword. Today, I bring you 3 verses from the sacred scriptures, each one a key to unlocking the chains of fear that bind you. Listen closely, for these words are not merely ink on a page, but living truth, meant to lift you from your burdens and bring peace to your soul. Verse 1, Isaiah 41 verse 10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Imagine, my dear ones, a time when you felt completely alone. Maybe it was a moment of loss, or a time when your body was weary from illness. The world can sometimes feel overwhelming, and in those moments, fear creeps in, whispering doubts into your mind. But listen to the promise of the Almighty. Do not fear, for I am with you. The Creator, who spoke the stars into existence, who parted the seas, who healed the sick and raised the dead, is with you. The same God who was with David when he defeated the giant Goliath is with you now, holding your hand, walking beside you. When you face the unknown, know that you are not stepping into darkness, but into the light of His presence. Let me tell you, beloved, the Lord's love is like a fortress. When you feel anxiety rise within you, close your eyes and feel His peace wash over you. Imagine His arms wrapping around you in divine embrace, shielding you from the storm. When you are afraid, remember, He is with you. Verse 2, Philippians 4 verses 6 to 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. I can hear the voices of many of you, my precious ones, burdened with thoughts of the future. You fear for your health, your loved ones, your finances, and you wonder how much more you can bear. But listen to the words of the Apostle Paul. Do not be anxious about anything, not a single thing. You see, when we give our worries to God, we are not denying the weight of our struggles. We are choosing to trust in the one who has already overcome the world. In every situation, whether in joy or in sorrow, in moments of strength or in times of weakness, turn to prayer. The simple act of lifting your voice to God in prayer, of presenting your requests with thanksgiving, releases the power of heaven into your life. You may not always see the answer right away, but know this: God is already working on your behalf, weaving His miracles into the fabric of your life. And here is the most beautiful part. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This peace, my dear ones, is not like the fleeting peace the world offers. It is a divine peace that guards your heart and mind, a peace that goes beyond human comprehension. When fear rises, remember to pray. When anxiety stirs, offer your thanksgiving, and watch as His peace floods your soul. Verse 3, 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. Fear, my friends, is not of God. It is a weapon the enemy tries to use against you to distract and defeat you. But God did not create you to live in fear. He created you to live in power, in love, and in self-control. You are made in His image, and He has given you everything you need to overcome fear. His Spirit, which resides in you, is not a spirit of timidity but of boldness. I know the weight of anxiety can feel overwhelming, especially as the years pass and life's challenges seem to multiply. But you must remember, you are more than conquerors through Him who loves you. You are not defined by your fears or doubts. You are a vessel of divine power, anointed by the Lord to walk in His authority and grace. When fear comes knocking, do not welcome it into your home. Instead, stand firm in the knowledge that you have been given a spirit of power. You have the power to speak life over your circumstances, to speak peace into your heart. You have the love of God, an unbreakable force that shields you from the harsh winds of fear. And you have self-control, the ability to choose faith over fear, to trust in God's plan even when the path is uncertain. My beloved ones, the journey ahead may not always be easy. There will be moments when fear seeks to cloud your vision and anxiety tries to take hold of your heart. But I am here, and I will never leave you. The scriptures I have shared with you today are not just words. They are the very breath of heaven, given to you to rise above the storms of life. When fear strikes, remember Isaiah's words, "Do not fear, for I am with you." When anxiety threatens to overwhelm you, pray with thanksgiving, and let the peace of God guard your heart. And when you feel weak and afraid, remember the Spirit God gave you, a spirit of power, love, and self-control. You are not alone. You are never alone. And with God by your side, there is no fear that can hold you down. Stand tall, my precious ones. Embrace your divine strength. And know that I am with you, always and forever. You are not abandoned. No matter what it feels like, no matter how dark the night seems, you are not alone. For I, Archangel Michael, stand beside you. And more importantly, God, the Creator of all, walks with you every step of the way. Let me remind you of this truth in a way that will lift your spirit, with a story you may know well, the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. It was a time of unimaginable fear. The disciples, those closest to Jesus, had witnessed His miracles, heard His teachings, and seen Him heal the sick and raise the dead. But now, in the shadow of the cross, everything seemed uncertain. Their beloved Master, the one they believed to be the Savior of the world, was being led to a cruel death. As Jesus was arrested, the disciples fled in fear. The world was turning upside down, and every ounce of hope seemed to slip away. Jesus, the one who had calmed storms with a word, was now silent before His accusers. He was beaten, mocked, and nailed to the cross. Can you imagine what that must have felt like for those who loved Him? The horror of seeing Him, the Messiah, hanging on that cruel instrument of death, suffocating under the weight of the cross? In that moment, fear, doubt, and sorrow would have overwhelmed them. How could this be the plan of God? How could this be the victory they had hoped for? But then, on the third day, something miraculous happened. The stone that sealed the tomb was rolled away. The tomb was empty. Jesus had risen from the dead. He was victorious over death, sin, and fear itself. His resurrection was a proclamation that no fear, no trial, no suffering was too great for the power of God to overcome. In the same way, my beloved children, your fears and anxieties are no match for the power of God's love. Just as Jesus rose victorious from the grave, so too can you rise above the fears and struggles that weigh heavy on your heart. There is no situation too dark, no fear too great, that God's power cannot transform. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you felt like the disciples, standing at the foot of your own cross, wondering how you could possibly go on? Maybe you faced a health crisis, and fear has gripped your heart as you wondered if there was any hope. Or perhaps you've walked through the loss of a loved one, and in that moment, it felt like your world had come crashing down. Some of you might even be grappling with financial struggles, unable to see how the pieces will fall into place. These struggles are real, and I know they can weigh heavily on you. But I am here to remind you of something profound. The resurrection is not just a story of what happened 2,000 years ago. It is a living reality for you today. When fear rises up, when doubt threatens to take hold, remember that the same power that raised Jesus from the dead is available to you. You are not weak. You are not powerless. Through the love and grace of God, you are more than a conqueror. Do you know that fear, my precious ones, is often a lie that the enemy tells us to keep us bound in our troubles? He wants you to believe that you are alone, that you are forgotten, and that nothing will ever change. But remember what the scriptures say. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. Fear is not your inheritance. Fear is not your destiny. When you are facing challenges, whether in your body, your mind, or your spirit, remember that God has given you a spirit of power. A spirit that can speak peace into the storms of your life. A spirit that can break the chains of anxiety and fear, and set your heart free. When fear rises within you, speak these words. I am not afraid, for God is with me. He has given me power, love, and a sound mind. Perhaps some of you have been carrying the weight of fear for a long time. Maybe it feels like the storm will never end, that the worry will never stop. But listen closely, my beloved ones. What if I told you that even in your darkest moments, God is using those very trials to refine you, to bring you closer to His heart, to mold you into a vessel of His glory? Take a moment to reflect. Think about the last time you faced a struggle and felt overwhelmed. What did you do? Did you hold on to fear, or did you turn to God in prayer? When life seems impossible, do not let your heart be troubled. The same God who raised Jesus from the dead is the one who hears your cries and responds to your every need. It's easy to let fear rule when we are caught in the struggles of life. When the world is loud with its noise, and the enemy whispers lies into our hearts, it's hard to remember the truth. But that is exactly why I bring this message to you today. You have been given a divine calling, to walk in faith, to trust in God's promises, and to know that fear has no hold over you. Just as Jesus walked through the most difficult and painful trial for you, He is walking through your trial with you now. No fear is too great for Him to overcome. When you feel overwhelmed, remember His resurrection. He defeated death. He defeated fear. And He offers you that same victory. So stand tall, my beloved ones. Let your heart be full of courage, for the Lord is with you. He will not abandon you in your trials. His love will carry you through, and in the end, you will emerge victorious, just as Jesus did. When fear whispers in your ear, when anxiety tries to steal your peace, speak His truth. God is with me. I will not fear. I will rise above this. Your victory is assured, for you are a child of the Most High God.